Good evening, everyone. My name is Masire Bangura, and I am a Kappa Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Subcommittee member. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce our Kappa 2025 Ruth Webb Scholarship Award recipient, Miss Amal Arshad.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much. Thank you. I'm so honored to be here.
I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. My first question is, who is the first person you told when you found out that you received this award?
That would be my mom, and um, she's been such a big support in my life, and not only in the ways that she prays for me all the time, but she's just had this like unrelentless belief in me and my goals and my vision. And it was only fitting for me to tell her and this award wasn't just the hard work that I've put in, but it was her sacrifices over time that have gotten me to where I am today. And it was an honor to be able to share that with her.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And it sounds so incredibly fitting.
Yes.
What would you say, what or whom inspired you to become a PA?
That's a great question. There's multiple reasons for why I was so attracted to the PA profession, but one of them being first off to start with that I, growing up, never really saw anybody who looked like me in the PA profession. But any interaction that I had with PAs in the past, and including when I would speak to patients and their experience with PAs was always nothing short of positive. And the PAs in their experience and my experience have always spent so much time and they took their care and effort into really explaining to the patients what they're going through, what's going on, answering any questions. And I just thought that was amazing, especially because I come from a background as an immigrant, have had to navigate those language barriers and cultural barriers. So for me, that was very attractive because that's what I wanted growing up. And to be able to see that, it definitely inspired me to want to provide that for my patients as well in the future. And of course, the lateral mobility that's so attractive to everybody else as well. I'm just interested in so many different specialties, and there's different specialties attract my interest and pique my interest. So it'd be so amazing to be able to be an expert, hopefully one day in one, and then if I'd so choose, at that moment, decide to go into another specialty and then bring my expertise from not the older, but the specialty, and then really just continue to grow and build a toolkit of just so much knowledge. Hopefully, that's the goal.
Amazing, amazing. You mentioned briefly your background as an immigrant. Would you be willing to sort of expound on that?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up and I was born and raised in Pakistan. So was my family. So we moved here about in 2000. And at that time, none of us spoke the language. The culture was very different. The language barrier was definitely a huge aspect in trying to navigate the American culture. Not only that, but just going. One example that I can think of that really shaped me and made me feel that diversity is so important in healthcare is an example that happened to my mom. So this is actually the perfect time to talk about it because we're in the middle of Ramadan. But essentially, Ramadan is a holy month that's celebrated by millions of people across the world. Muslims usually celebrate it, and essentially, it's a period where it lasts about 30 days, but from dawn to dusk, you fast from food and water. So my mom had a doctor, a healthcare provider who she went to, and she explained this to the healthcare provider. Despite the language barrier, she did her best. And instead of being met with understanding or curiosity about Ramadan and what her cultural beliefs is and how this was so important to her, she was met with not understanding at all of what she was going through and was told that she needs to take her medications and just to not fast. So that definitely made her feel like she was not understood and did not make her feel seen at all. So one of my goals, and that shaped my my perspective in medicine, and I always thought to myself, I want to be the provider that is not only open-minded, but is curious about my patients. And if I ever come across a patient where, or from a background that I don't understand, it is going to be hopefully my responsibility fully to try to understand that patient and their differences, so I can not only provide the care that I would provide to every patient, but I am culturally and sensitive to the patient and make them feel like a human being first, more than just, a patient coming into my office. So yeah, so that kind of ties into why for diversity is so important for me in the healthcare field.
Absolutely. I think it's, especially important, as you said, to just make people feel human. Most people want to feel heard and understood, and it makes such a huge difference throughout the healthcare environment within that interaction. It's extremely important.
Mhm.
I think that's a great answer. Absolutely.
And it's so important for a patient to feel safe, just going to the healthcare provider, not just with what's going on medically, but once the patient feels safe with the healthcare provider, they can truly, and you never know what's going on outside, but at least they can feel safe and they can feel seen within the medical community. And that only helps the patient outcomes mentally, emotionally, in every way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As you know, this scholarship was created in honor of Miss Ruth Webb, the first female African American PA program director and advocate for diversity within our profession. Um, would you say that winning a scholarship of this type has any, you know, real significance for you? How does that make you feel?
It's truly an honor. When I heard that I got the scholarship, I was so excited. And not only is it such a financial um, blessing, and to have received that, but Ruth Webb was truly a trailblazer and in promoting diversity, inclusion, and equity. And it just reiterates my mission and belief that I I am part of this entire mission of what she started, to promote as much diversity and inclusion as I can, and hopefully continue her mission and hopefully making her proud, in trying to just make sure that all our patients and anybody interested in the PA field feels seen and heard and feels like there are people like them who can do this. Like, if we can do this, then they can do this, and no dream is out of reach if they believe in themselves and continue. And that's my goal, to continue that, her legacy, and providing as much education and outreach as I can.
Excellent. How do you think that, what are ways you can think of that we can get more individuals from diverse backgrounds to consider becoming a physician assistant?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it's something, even me as somebody who was in the healthcare field pretty early on, I got exposed to the PA career later on. At first, it was all I heard was med school and going that route, or nursing. But I think the most important thing that we can do is just outreach programs, and through different schools or high schools, especially in the underserved communities who may not be exposed to this field or even know what that is. Because even to this day, people that I've come across, when I've explained or when I've said that I'm a PA student, they are like, wait, is that a doctor? And so I have to explain to them, and that's okay. But I think that it's very important for us, being Kappa members and being in Kappa, it's definitely going to be important here on out to just have programs and leadership roles and outreach initiatives, and working with or different organizations to really educate and inform what the PA profession really entails.
Excellent. Amal, why do you think it's important for current practicing PAs, pre-PAs, or even PA students? Why do you think it's important to be a Kappa member?
Yeah. It's really important to be a Kappa member because Kappa is not just an organization, it is an entity that really helps us progress our profession forward. And not only is there education, but there's a huge, not only is there education involved in Kappa, but there are workshops that help PA students and if you're already in your career, it helps PAs, current PAs as well as well as something like the scholarship that wouldn't have been possible without Kappa and the amazing members who have donated and have created these scholarships. So something as simple as a financial initiative to something as more complicated than with legislation, all of that is encompassed, or all of that is part of Kappa, and um, being a part of this and supporting that not only supports students like me, but who are wanting to complete and fulfill their mission of our career path, but also just making a difference in how our career, our field is going to progress.
Post-graduation, what would you like to do as a licensed PA?
I would love to get into integrated medicine. I'm interested in multiple fields, but for me, the one that I keep going back to that I think applies to a lot of different specialties is integrated medicine. So essentially, integrated medicine is a patient-centered approach that focuses on the main pillars of health. And along with conventional therapies, there are other therapies involved, and just focusing on the main pillars like diet, nutrition, exercise, stress management, sleep, those are all very important. And in family practice, or if we're going to PCP, we may not have the time allotted to fully and in detail discuss aspects, but those aspects are so important for overall health and well-being. And so I'm really passionate about that. And I really do think that a lot of health can be achieved alongside conventional therapies, but just to focus on those pillars of health. So I would love to get in that and hopefully bring that to the underrepresented communities as well.
How do you plan to advocate and promote the advancement of diversity in the PA profession? You've given so many great examples of why, diversity within our profession is paramount. It can make such a huge difference for a patient, just on a basic level, just to see someone that looks like them, to be able to connect, whether that be culturally or through language, anything like that. So, what specific goals do you have regarding representing, diversity within our profession?
Yes, I would love to get involved with organizations that do outreach programs. Specifically, I would love to continue to be a part of Kappa and be not only a mentor to PA students or pre-PA students, but also just work with different organizations that do have outreach programs or help with educating what diversity in the PA field looks like, and sharing my story as well, because I think sharing personal stories of how the experiences I've had shaped my career goals, I think hopefully would one day inspire other people to see me and say, hey, she looks like me, or she came from, not being able to speak English and just come from a completely different culture and background and is now able to be here. So hopefully that can give those students a glimmer of hope that anything is possible if you keep your goals and your vision in mind and just keep persevering.
Your story is so absolutely inspiring. I'm just so excited that, you're a recipient of this prestigious award. I am looking forward to your experience, your story, your journey being shared with, other practicing PAs, current PA students, or even pre-PAs that may come across this interview. I think it's fantastic. On that note, do you have any tips, advice, encouragement for pre-PA students or even current PA students along their journey?
Yes, that's a great question and a very important one, because being in this field, and I've tend to notice that a lot of people who enter the healthcare field tend to be very compassionate, empathetic people, and they want to help other people, and that is such an admirable quality. However, sometimes we may be, for example, in didactic or clinical years, just studying and just so focused on our goal that we forget to just be grounded and be fully present in the moment sometimes, and not only just enjoy and appreciate the distance and the journey that we have had, but to never forget your joy, I like to call it, never forget your joy. And essentially, that just means to always, no matter where you are just in the middle of studying, and if you're burnt out and you're feeling just so like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore, just step away, for 10, 15, 30 minutes, just go do something that you really, really enjoy and that truly brings you joy. Because I truly believe, and it's what has kept me going, but I truly believe that coming back to something that fills your cup and makes you happy not only makes you a better person in general, but you're going to be such a better provider, a better person in your personal life and in your professional life. And I think that is a great place to be, to just be centered and to be grounded, and then just, reevaluate your goals and go do something that makes you happy, and then come back and go after your goals. So I think just keeping that in mind and always just thinking, and gratitude too, that's huge. Just being grateful for all the opportunities and all the ways that you've come this far. So never ever forget that.
That is an excellent piece of advice for everyone under the sun, for our patients, for practicing providers, for PA students. The best advice. I think that's great, and I wish that I had heard that more when I was in PA school.
It is hard to remember sometimes, but it is crucial in our well-being. And if we want to serve in the capacity that we want to, it is so important to just always stay grounded and come back to things that make you happy so you can make other people happy.
Absolutely, absolutely. I completely agree. Completely agree. Definitely. Well, Amal, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing your inspiring story. I'm sure that it's definitely going to make a difference for those that, have the opportunity to watch it, those that have the opportunity to meet you. And I am excited for your future patients. I think that you're going to be an excellent PA.
Thank you so much,
And
Mastery.
congratulations again.
Thank you. I'm honored and I'm so thankful that I got to share this platform with you and just discuss my story, and hopefully somewhere somebody may get inspired or just get a little glimmer of hope, and to never give up and always go after your dreams. So thank you for being a part of this journey and making one of my dreams come true.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.